Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Well Path podcast. I am your host, Brooke Robbins. I'm so excited to be back here with you guys today. And I'm excited for the topic of today's episode because a week ago, I was in a full blown rut. Okay. I was anxious. I felt dysregulated. I was lethargic. I was foggy. I did not feel like myself at all. And it took me a little bit by surprise because I feel like it's pretty rare for me to get into that kind of a situation at this point in my journey. But the truth is that no matter how much inner work you do, no matter how self-aware you are, we are all human beings living in an unpredictable world. We all have things that are going on, and it's going to happen to you at some point. The goal isn't to never get into a rut again, but the goal is to be able to move through it and out of it more quickly. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today because I feel like I hesitate to use the word perfected because I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but I have come up with a very solid process with a 100% success rate to get out of a rut. And I'm telling myself this as much as I'm telling you guys this. And I was reminding myself of this a week ago. And we're going to go over this in this episode as well. But you have to remember if you are listening to this episode because you're actually in a low period, if you're in a rut, if you feel like you're in one of these stages of time where you just don't feel like yourself and you're struggling to reclaim your energy, remember that everything is temporary and this too shall pass. Think about how many times you've been in this situation before and you've always been able to climb out of it. So just remember that first and foremost. We're going to go through my entire process of how to get out of a rut, some of the things that worked for me last week, and we're going to get into all of it today. I also want to say before we dive into the nuts and bolts of this episode, if you are navigating something deeper than a temporary rut, a big life transition, patterns you need help unpacking, I do work with people one-on-one. You can book a free clarity call through the link in my bio or my show notes. That's a 15-minute call to learn about coaching with me, to just connect and for me to hear a little bit about what you're going through. So if that's of interest to you, go ahead and book a call. But without further ado, let's get into it. Step one of how to get out of a rut is a very important step. And it is what I call the 24-hour grace period. Okay. The first thing that you need to do is give yourself permission to rot for 24 hours. If you are feeling like you are in a state of nervous system dysregulation, pushing through it immediately can backfire. And sometimes your body, your mind, your soul truly just needs a sacred pause. And so you have to give yourself some contained period of time to just relax and be in the rut. Okay. We can't just immediately jump out of it. You have to give yourself some period of time. In my experience, 24 hours is enough. That is the perfect amount of time. One full day, you can sit on the couch and watch Netflix. You can cancel all social plans. You can completely isolate. Okay, 24 hours only. You don't have to talk to friends about it. You can be in your own stuff for 24 hours and give yourself full permission. And this is really important. You do not guilt yourself when you're in that 24-hour period. You give yourself the 24 hours and you say, this is my 24-hour rot grace period. I'm doing what I'm doing before I move on. No pressure to be productive. You rest, you stay home, you do whatever you kind of want to do, and you don't push yourself to like exercise or do all the things that we're going to get into next, which are actually going to help your energy. This is a 24-hour grace period. Just give yourself that time. Step number 2, movement plus connection. This is the golden combination. Okay. So in this specific case, I gave myself that 24-hour period and I woke up the following day and I decided to go on a long walk outside. I personally live in Miami, so I went to the beach on the boardwalk. I put my little ball of bangles on my wrist, okay, elevated a little bit of intensity, get the juices flowing, get the blood moving, get everything pumping. And I went for a long walk outside, okay? That's a great start. The movement piece is a great start. To take it to the next level, you add in the connection piece. And this is where you phone a friend, okay? So movement plus phone a friend. Best case scenario for this is a long walk outside and you're calling somebody that you trust with your deepest, darkest secrets, somebody that there's no weird energy with, very important, someone that genuinely wants the best for you. That could be your best friend. It could be your sister. It could be your mom. I don't know who it is for you. It could be your partner. I don't know who it is for you, but whoever it is, you're calling that person, or if you want to see them in person, maybe they join you for the walk, but you're walking, you're moving your body, and you are having some sort of connection with somebody you trust and feel held and supported by. And whatever it is that's gotten you into this rut, whether it's a specific incident or it's just a generalized feeling, doesn't really matter. If it's a specific incident, you can talk to your friend about it or whoever you're calling about it. If it's more of just a generalized thing, you just can talk about how you're feeling. And the interesting thing that at least I've noticed in these types of experiences is that most often I don't actually need advice, and it doesn't really matter what the person on the other end of the phone says back to me. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen who genuinely wants the best for you. Sometimes being witnessed in your struggle is enough to soften the struggle. So it's not necessarily about, again, like getting advice from people, but sometimes just like offloading the emotion and the feeling and what you're going through to somebody that really loves you just like takes the pain out of it somehow, or at least can soften it. And it can feel like a bit of a release. Now, step 3 is going to be a little bit specific and kind of dependent on the type of rut, although I do think it's relevant no matter what. And this is like, you can think of it as like a self baptism. I call it like my ocean ritual because I live near the sea. So that's the body of water that I use. But when I'm in this type of energy, where again, it could be a number of different things, whether it's anxiety or a feeling of sort of like stuck, low, heavy energy, the visual that comes to my mind is like wanting to purge the negative energy out of my body and like release it. It almost feels like this weight that needs to be shed. And so, what I always do, and I'm going to walk you through the step by step of this ritual that I do. It's going to sound so witchy and crazy, but whatever. You guys are used to it at this point. I have a little ritual that I do with the ocean where I basically journal dump all of the feelings and give them space and write down specifically what I'm trying to release, the feeling, the emotion, the sensation. And then I submerge my entire body in water and I visualize as I'm getting into the water. I dunk my head and I'm visualizing all of that energy, all of that emotion, all of that stuckness releasing out of my body and into the sea and away from me. Water is incredibly regulating for your nervous system. So there is some element of this that is like kind of science backed. Being submerged in water is resonant to like being in your mother's womb. Like there's something very peaceful and sacred about being submerged and kind of like floating in a body of water. So that is part of it. Water also obviously is very symbolic of like cleansing and purification. And so sometimes just again, like getting yourself submerged in a body of water, it can feel like this ritualistic cleansing. And then lastly, ritual as a concept is actually not as woo as it sounds. Ritual is only as meaningful as the meaning that you attribute to it. And so when I use the word ritual, I use that intentionally because it's one thing to just jump in the ocean, but it's another thing to say to yourself, okay, I am going into the sea with this like very specific intention of releasing this negative energy off of me, out of my body, out of my soul, out of my mind. And I'm telling you, it works. So if you live by a body of water, that's amazing, whether it's an ocean or a lake or whatever. If you don't live by a body of water, that's totally fine. Run a bath. Even honestly, like washing your face and like scrubbing your body down in the shower with the intention of like purifying and cleansing your energy would work. You could use a salt scrub. You could use what are they called? Those like nice scrubbing things that they use in the Turkish hammam places. Like whatever you want to do, you can create your own ritual around it, but some sort of like purification ritual involving water where you intentionally bookmark that as like, okay, this is symbolic of me releasing this energy out and getting rid of it. Once you've done that, it is time to step into the new reality. Okay. So you've let yourself rot for 24 hours. You have moved your body and connected with somebody and sort of started to release what's been going on with somebody that you trust. You've ritualistically released the energy and purified and cleansed. Now it's time for some momentum. And you have to remember that an object in motion stays in motion. And a lot of the times when we're in a bit of a rut, it can feel like it's really difficult to climb out of because we are currently not really like moving. We don't have a lot of energy around us. And the trap is waiting to feel motivated first. The reality is, motivation comes after action, not before. I want to say that again. Motivation comes after action, not before. And so the action has to precede the motivation. Taking that first step is so powerful because the first time that you initiate that kind of movement, that energy, we're going to talk about exactly what we're going to do. It's going to feel like probably pushing a boulder up a hill because the object is not in motion yet and you're trying to bring it into motion. So there's going to be some resistance the first 1 to 2 times that you're going to do any of these things. But know that it's going to be a flywheel. It's only going to be hard for the first couple of times. And then you're going to get so in the rhythm and in the momentum that it's going to come so naturally. And the main things that I want to talk about bringing momentum into are really exercise and spending time in nature. For me, early mornings are really important as well. I know that's not necessarily for everybody, but when I'm in a rut, I make the following things non-negotiable. For a full week, I will get up in time to watch the sunrise with my own eyes and work out before I start my day. And again, the first couple of days, it might feel like you're pushing against something and it's hard to motivate. But by day 3 and day 4, it feels like so natural and you start to crave it. And I'm telling you, if you wake up in time to watch the sunrise and move your body every day for 5 days in a row, there is no way that you do not get out of that rut, guaranteed. Okay. It is absolutely guaranteed. And so the most important thing when you're at the beginning, right, you're kind of in this rut and you're like trying to motivate yourself to kind of push yourself out of it, is you have to stop negotiating with yourself. You have to make a decision like, I am going to do this for the next 7 days. I am waking up at X time. I am going to the gym. I am going for a run. I am doing X, Y, or Z, whatever it is for you. Make the decision and do not negotiate with yourself. When your alarm goes off in the morning, you don't ask yourself, oh, am I going to get up? Am I not going to get up? No, you already made the decision. You stop negotiating with yourself. When you start treating the things that you know are good for you like non-negotiables, everything in your life changes with rapid speed. And so whether it's, I would say 5 days minimum, but ideally 7 days, like a full week, you're going to commit to a full week of treating these things as non-negotiables. You're moving your body every day. You're waking up early to watch the sunrise. That's it. That's all you need to do. You can commit to those 2 things for 5 to 7 days. And then back to the original point that I made at the beginning of this episode, remember, and this is kind of like a step 5, but it's sort of just an overarching thing across the entire process, is remember that it's temporary. You need to really constantly be reassuring yourself and reminding yourself that when you're in a rut, it feels like you're never going to get out of it. And the funny thing is, and I said this to a friend of mine when I was in this period of time, no matter how many times this has happened, right, where I kind of get into a temporary down period, it always feels like it's never going to end when you're in it. But you have to override that. You have to remind yourself of all of the times you've been in the situation before and how you've been able to turn it around. And in fact, you can turn it around so quickly. So you need to remind yourself that this too shall pass. Emotions are temporary states. And your identity and who you are is not defined by a couple of days or even a week or 2 of being sort of in a downshift. You can change that literally so fast. And your energy is allowed to fluctuate. Life is meaningless without juxtaposition. So if you never experienced these lows, you wouldn't really have as much of an appreciation for the highs or like the way that you're normally operating from like a high vibe mindset. And so just see it as part of the human experience. Doesn't mean you need to wallow in it, but just know that it's going to pass and you don't have to stress about that. Step number 6, start doing some higher self activations. What do I mean by that? I personally use visualization for this. I use visualization meditation for this first thing in the morning. But it's important to intentionally put yourself into a high vibe state and start to spend time with the version of yourself that is acting in accordance with how you actually want to act and is feeling in accordance with how you want to feel. Okay. So in the morning, again, even if you're in a rut, even if you're not feeling good, you're going to sit down. Ideally, you're going to do a visualization meditation for this, but you're going to spend some time actually stepping into the persona and the energy of your higher self. That again just means the version of yourself that is operating at a very high vibe, high frequency, that's feeling really good in your body, that is doing the things that you want to do, that feels optimistic, feels confident. All of the adjectives, all of the descriptors of how you would want to feel, you're going to channel that and you're going to visualize yourself as that and step into that energy. The reason why this is so powerful is because science shows that your brain does not fully distinguish between imagined and real experience. The best sort of exemplifier that I've heard for this, and you can walk through this with me if you're listening to this podcast, is just for a second, close your eyes. Or if you're driving, don't close your eyes. That's fine. Just focus and focus on this visual. Imagine a lemon, okay? A nice yellow, juicy lemon. And maybe bring the lemon up to your nose and smell the lemon. Maybe you can start to smell what a lemon smells like in your brain, in your imagination. And now I want you to imagine cutting the lemon open and you can see the juice of the lemon. And the lemon is now cut in half. And you can smell the citrusy smell coming off the lemon. And now I want you to bring that lemon half up to your mouth. And I want you to get ready to take like a little bite out of the lemon, like the fleshy part of the lemon. Do you feel your mouth starting to salivate, like getting ready for the sour feeling of the lemon? I personally do. I think it's really fascinating. So when you're actually deep in an imagined state, your brain doesn't fully distinguish between the fact that that's just an imagined experience. It starts to actually replicate the reality of that experience. And so when you think about this, relevant for this for a higher self visualization, when you start to imagine yourself feeling a certain way, it's going to help your brain, your body to reenact that sooner. So it really is very impactful. It's really, really helpful. And I will put some resources in the show notes of like higher self visualization that I use that you can use if you're in one of these periods. But spending some time every single day doing some sort of a higher self activation to intentionally and actively pull yourself into a new state of being, into a higher frequency, intentionally shifting your mood. Because at the end of the day, again, these ruts are inevitable. Like we're all going to go through them, but you have to remember that a lot of your mood is determined by your consciousness and not the other way around. So, like, yes, circumstances can temporarily impact how we feel, but you actually have the control to shift out of that, regardless of your circumstances, with a little bit of discipline. And step 7, I will just call this like raise your baseline. And these are things that I've actually incorporated into my day-to-day practice, not only when I'm in a rut, and it helps me get into ruts less. And these are small shifts to basically like introduce more awe and joy and happiness into your day-to-day life. I talk a lot about the idea of living an awe-centric life and being enthusiastic about things, even in a way that other people might find, a little bit cheesy or like a little bit too much. Because at the end of the day, being like excited by life is fuel for your manifestations. It is magnetic energy and it just puts you in a good mood. And a few things that I have started to do and that I double down on whenever I'm in a rut, like I was last week, are, and this is especially a lot of this revolves around my morning routine. I play super high vibe music. I have a high vibe playlist that I've created. I will also link that in my show notes if anyone wants to download that, but I will play that every single morning and literally dance around my kitchen to that music while I'm making my coffee. And it puts me in the absolute best mood. The other thing I do is I sleep with my phone outside of my bedroom. It's charged in the living room. It doesn't come in my bedroom. And I don't check it when I wake up. I have a physical alarm clock. It's like similar to the Hatch. And I wake up with that, and I don't check my phone until I've finished my like morning routine. So that means I'm dancing around the kitchen, drinking my coffee before ever looking at my phone. And those things really help your nervous system, honestly, to stay regulated in the morning. And that is really going to set your tone for the rest of the day. And then other little things, like however you're able to romanticize your life. Okay. For me, I love coffee. So like I will savor my morning coffee. Like I enjoy the preparation of it. I'm sitting down with it. I'm enjoying it. I'm not on my phone. I'm like fully present with that cup of coffee. Like so excited for that cup of coffee. If you go on a walk, maybe you leave your phone at home, like be super present in the moment. Do little things to just romanticize your life. Like even for me, like making a delicious, like cute little coffee for myself. Like I've got my rainbow straws. I've got my cute coffee cups. Like I did a fun flavor on my latte today. Whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be anything big, but starting to just tap into enthusiasm for big things and small things in your life. Intentionally raise your vibration. It is going to change your life. For me, I genuinely felt like 90% better within 48 hours of implementing this plan. And within a week, I feel back to like my normal high vibe baseline. So it truly is temporary. This really does work. If you give this a go, I would love to hear from you. Please like tag me on Instagram or DM me at the.well.path. You guys probably know we're on there. And just to kind of summarize, the steps are A, 24-hour grace period. Allow yourself to rot. B, movement and connection. You're going to get outside, go for a long walk, maybe throw some bala bangles on, call a trusted friend, phone a friend. 3, some sort of purification cleansing ritual. Maybe that's in the ocean, maybe it's in a lake, maybe it's a bath, maybe it's washing your face, scrubbing your body, whatever it is. You're purifying your body, cleansing the energy out, and making that symbolism really clear for yourself. That is enough. Number 4, momentum, non-negotiables, okay? Non-negotiables, 5 to 7 days straight. You're getting up early, you're working out. That's all I'm really asking of you. It doesn't even matter what kind of exercise it is, but this is going to get you into a flow state. It is going to get you into motion. It is going to get you feeling confident and in tune with yourself and in tune with your body and all of these good things. Number 5, remember that everything is temporary. This too shall pass. Number 6, higher self visualization. You are going to spend time intentionally cultivating and spending time with that high vibe version of yourself. And number 7, raising your baseline. Romanticize your life, get enthusiastic about life, invite awe into your day to day. It is going to change everything so quickly for you, I promise. And if you're in a rut right now, I want to tell you, like I said, I feel you. I was there a week ago. If you spoke to me then, you would know I was not in a good place. So just know that I've been there and you will come out of this so quickly. I really want to hear how this went for you. And I want to just remind everybody too, again, if you're navigating something a little bit deeper or you want support with navigating the feelings that you're in, I would love to talk to you. I work with people on relationship patterns, life transitions, and reconnecting with yourself and your inner knowing. If that sounds interesting to you, book a call with me. I will put the link in the show notes. It's also in my Instagram bio and would be so excited to chat with you guys. And that's all I have for us today. Have a fabulous week and I will see you guys soon.